Hey, welcome to the Team Babe podcast. I'm Jason, and I'm Babe.
And I'm Robin, and I'm Babe.
You are.
I
That
know.
was so matter of fact, man.
Well, I mean, I like to tell it like it is.
Well, once one has ascended to Talos and communed with the archangels and the Lemurians,
Yeah. And
like podcast intros ain't no thing.
well, you have the authority, really, of the spiritual realm, to cast light upon, like all of the prophets and the portals and
Prophets, that sounds good.
the other dimensions.
Tell me
and
more
things.
about prophets.
Well, there's these special people in the world. I don't know if you've heard about this or whatever, but like prophets are not restricted to just the Bible. Okay.
You don't say. See, I thought, I was thinking a different kind of prophet, like that cash money. No?
Well, that's my kind of prophet, but other people are like, oh no, the spiritual realm.
Yeah, man.
But I'm not, I just don't know if I go in for all that.
Yeah, you're what we would call a skeptic. I think. Well,
That's a nice way to say it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a skeptic, but I know there's a lot of people that flock to this area, of Northern California who are not skeptics, and they are believers in one thing or the other. But today we're going to talk about the other. Because, most of the time people
What's the one thing?
Jesus.
Is it the power of the one?
That's
like the funk song says?
It's just Jesus.
It's Jesus. The one.
Yeah.
But it's the three, it's the Jesus, it's the Holy Trinity, it's the Lemurians, the archangels, and...
No.
Jesus.
I'm saying...
The toad?
No, I'm saying most people have heard about Jesus, okay? But today's episode is where we're going to talk about the other things that are not Jesus that people flock to this area for.
Well, I got a question for you, babe.
Okay.
Have you heard the news?
Was it the good news? Or was it just the news?
He's risen.
Yeah, I heard all that already. That's old news, actually.
See, we've embarked, the Team Babe podcast has morphed into kind of a Christian, like a call-in show without callers.
Like what, Dr. Laura?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm. You know what Dr. Laura is. Don't act like that. You don't know what Dr.
But is that a Christian call-in show?
Basically, it might as well be.
Oh, okay.
People call in, and then she judges them harshly and tells them they're doing it wrong, and then they go on their merry way. Isn't that kind of like a Christian call-in show?
What's the problem with this? This sounds like exactly like something you would do because you were born to judge, bud.
This is true. I definitely was born to judge, but I don't know if I'm born to judge on Christian principles, though. I got my own principles, and
You got your own Christian principles.
and I don't know if Jesus would approve, but
I got my own Christian principle. His name is Jeff. He's wicked Christian.
So the reason we're talking about all this spirituality is because, like, we got some underground information about a certain visitor.
Insider. I don't know if all you people know, but you probably don't. But I mean, we happen to be in the orbit, in the general vicinity of like one of the most holy spiritual, 14,000 foot plus peaks in the world. It's right up there. So think about it. Whatever is back over your shoulder as I point. It's right up there. And it's called Mount Shasta, and it's like 14,100 and something feet. And it's the home to crystals, Talos, archangels, the Lemurians, all kinds of shit, man.
Yeah.
If a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, did it make a sound?
That's right.
Did we talk about this?
Well, not yet.
Oh, okay, good.
Save it.
We'll save that for later.
Okay. Stay tuned.
That's part of a future segment.
No, that's part of this segment.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know.
Okay, we're going to tell all the Mount Shasta stories tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Do we have enough time?
I think so.
The clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's the big deal? What's the hubbub about Mount Shasta from your perspective?
Well, I didn't know anything about it until recent times. I've lived like an hour away from it my whole life, but then I never went there as a child. So then as an adult, I was like, oh, it's a place where people ski and snowboard, and that's cool in the gang. And then I was so wrong. I found out later that this is a place that people from all over the world, especially rich people, go to have a spiritual awakening and a healing of sorts. And there's, and this includes, but is not limited to, astral guided tours, Lemurians, crystals, yoga, coaching, and
all manner of like vegan cuisine,
essential oils, and
very spiritual,
and hiking tours.
Amethysts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crystals. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's in the same.
Yeah, but people really think that if you go to the mountain, which is Mount Shasta, that you will either be enlightened or be healed.
I mean, in a way, it kind of makes sense because, like, we've been so close to it our whole lives. And obviously, like, we're on a higher spiritual plane.
Oh, obviously.
Than most. Like, we've ascended to Telos several times.
Is that what's wrong with that? So, that explains it. So, I got the down low that a certain wealthy person visited Mount Shasta, and not just visited Mount Shasta, but went to a danged crystal shop.
Well, what are you going to do? You're in downtown Mount Shasta. You just spent the last 30 minutes browsing the 5th season and doing like, cross-country ski workouts on the little like, park there that they put in or whatever.
The playground, yeah.
The little playground. I mean, you got to check out the crystal shop, baby. That's where,
I'm all for it.
They're all charged. They've been in the,
in the moonlight.
They've been soaking in the moonlight.
Yeah. Now, so this is like a little side story. I actually love crystals. I'm a lifelong crystal lover. Like I was a rock collector as a child. I went to gem and mineral shows. I was like paying top dollar for like my amethyst, like gemstones and whatnot. So
which happens to be my birthstone.
I know. It was meant to be. So I understand why people love crystals. Okay. Yeah. But the other part of the story is that I don't necessarily believe that they're going to heal me. I just think they look nice. I'm kind of a collector for like their aesthetic.
Yeah.
Other people are collectors.
Particularly like rubies, diamonds, sapphires, emeralds.
Oh, yeah.
Those types.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just the semi-precious stones, but the real precious ones.
You know what my new one is?
What?
Opal.
Opal?
Yeah.
Tell me about opal.
Well, the opal is fiery from the inside. It has like...
They're white?
Yeah, they're white. But when you look at it in the sun, it has like orange and red. And it's very like, diverse.
It sounds cool. I don't know if I've ever seen one.
You definitely have. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because I bought you one, and it's sitting in the windowsill in the kitchen.
Obviously, it made a huge impression.
I know.
It has changed my life.
I know it's one of your most treasured possessions.
To the point where I have fully integrated it into my life so much that I forgot it's there.
I know.
Sort of like, your hands or something.
Yeah, it's just a part of you.
Yeah, that's a bad example.
It's a part of you.
Like you're always grabbing things, like maybe like your tail.
I can't relate to that. I don't have a tail.
You don't have a kitty cat tail?
No, sorry.
Okay. Well, who the fuck did we cite at Mount Shasta?
Well, we didn't, but I have it on good authority.
Inside info.
I got insider info that Elon Musk.
Mr. Musk? Mr. Tesla?
Yeah.
Mr. SpaceX?
He was in Mount Shasta shopping for crystals. Is that wacky or what?
That is wacky.
And the other part of this is he was wearing a Star Wars shirt. And the Star Wars shirt had the X-Wing fighters on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So extra nerdy.
Wow. So yeah, Elon was just like right up there, man.
Right up there.
You know, and us being huge fans, it's like, wow, sort of just starstruck for us and for the area. We're just like, whoa.
We're just like, yeah, we're famous now. I mean, I couldn't say I'm really a big Elon fan. However, if I did spot him somewhere, I would be kind of like weirded out.
He's a very strange individual. Like, if you just want to take it from like the SNL,
Yeah.
the recent SNL appearance, like
Yeah.
all the wiggling and talking, like it's like, oh man, like I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't.
He's sort of like a bag of squirrels. You know what I mean?
It's like a very wealthy bag of squirrels that shoots cars into space or whatever.
You never know what's going to come out of the bag, which way the squirrels are going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're like trying to get ready for it, but you're just not ready.
Well, it's like one of those things, like where, you know, like having heard some of the things that I've heard about this individual, like if I hadn't heard that, I'd be like, oh, well, this is like the best thing that ever happened. Like, this nerd guy figured out how to get all the money and then made like, it's not a flamethrower, and smoked weed on Joe Rogan, and, you know, shoots Teslas into space and buys $100 million worth of Bitcoin, and then says they're not going to take it anymore to buy because of the environment. Like, oh, we didn't realize that 2 months ago. Weird.
Yeah, he is weird. And it's like I wanted to like him. But I'm having a hard time.
I think like probably it's one of those things where you just need to spend time with somebody, you know?
You think so?
Yeah.
You think me and Elon should hang out?
Probably not.
You'd
What
probably
was that movie where
probably have me axed.
I was thinking more like it would be like that movie where somebody was like, I'll give you $1 million to sleep with your wife or something like that. What was that?
Indecent Proposal?
Yeah. Who was in that? Was that Robert Redford?
Yes.
Was he the proposer?
Yeah. And Demi Moore.
And who was the husband? Nick Nolte or something?
I can't remember. I want to say it's
Dafoe?
Brad Pitt, but that can't be right.
No.
I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But yeah, no, I really can't see that as the situation. I think
all of our money problems are solved.
No. I'm afraid not. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think Tesla is going to be a sponsor of this podcast, by the way.
No.
Just FYI. I don't think we're going to get that Tesla sponsorship.
Yeah, we've been. I think that ship has sailed probably by now. But maybe he's got like a really good sense of humor about himself, you know? I suppose. I mean, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I don't really think that is the case. I think he's a smart dude, and you know, he enjoys the alternative things in life. Nothing wrong with that.
So,
but you know,
tell me about your understanding of the Lemurians.
Okay. Well, my understanding of the Lemurians is that they're little alien creatures that are sort of like
aliens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're little short, sort of people-like creatures, I guess. Sort of like Snow White's 7 dwarves that live inside of Mount Shasta, and they're in there.
Leprechauns.
Yeah, and they're in there like kind of working away. They're making their little tunnels, their time travel tunnels, portals, as you might say, where you can, you know, go to other places and other dimensions as you so choose, but you have to, you know, like be right within and whatnot for the Lemurians to like guide you on your journey. That's my understanding.
Okay. All right. That sounds pretty spot on. When I think of Lemurians, I picture like the Lucky Charms elf.
Mm-hmm.
Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, with the hat and stuff. But that seems impractical. Like if you're crawling around underground, like it's all that sharp, like volcanic rock and glass and stuff, you're probably just like a mole man or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Or a mole person.
Yes, let's be inclusive.
Yeah.
And so I think they're not like little Lucky Charms people. I think they're like very pale, ghostly looking sort of creatures. You know, because they don't go outside into the sunlight. So they are kind of like that, like a mole that's like devoid of pigment.
Yeah. So they don't have like, do moles have hair?
Yeah.
But they're sort of, you can see their skin is like pink or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we're like the moles of the, like.
Of the land?
Yeah, we're land moles.
That's gross. But yeah, I wouldn't want to see a Lemurian if they were real. I think they'd be freaky deaky.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they just want to help. Where do the archangels fit in? Go.
Okay. The archangels, you know, they live above the mountain. Okay, in the heavens.
Like where the lenticular clouds are
usually?
Okay.
Yeah.
How high? What's their elevation?
Oh gosh. I mean, you know, they're not quite in outer space, but almost. You know, like in the atmosphere. Yeah. And they're the ones that give all the messages to the prophets and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
They send them down?
Yeah, they send them down.
Mind beams?
Yeah.
So, and then who are the prophets?
They're these people that live in Mount Shasta that want to make money off tourists.
Okay. All right. This is sounding very spiritual.
Yeah.
And now this Elon guy.
Uh-huh.
So he was assigned douche at birth? Is that what I'm to understand?
I think that is 100% correct.
Neither man, woman,
beast,
non-gender binary,
yeah,
or beast. He is douche.
That is correct. Okay. Yeah, that's what my sources tell me. Yeah.
Gotcha. I've also heard stories about, I can't remember who told me this, but about like Bill Gates, like flying into the like weed airport, because there's a city right past Mount Shasta over your shoulder, behind you, called Weed, California.
And they're putting themselves on the map. They're finally getting smart.
Yeah.
And they're starting to sell weed, wouldn't you know? So I think that Bill Gates actually used to visit weed like for non-nefarious purposes. You know, I think he just liked to go up there and like get away from it all, as
I'm sure
they say.
he could get like mad weed if he wanted in
he could get whatever he wants wherever.
Washington or wherever the fuck he is.
Yeah. He
that.
doesn't need to travel to the middle of nowhere.
No, but I heard you like go there to go skiing or mountain biking or something.
Yeah, but it is a place where if you want to get away from people, you can really get away from people. It is very isolated.
Yeah.
Like you go to the town of Mount Shasta, well, there's people there. There's a few. And there's a nice little town. But if you just drive 5 miles in any direction, you're like completely isolated.
Yeah, you're in the bush.
Yeah. So I find it strange that this place attracts the wealthy. To me, if I was a wealthy person, it is not a place that I would feel like I needed to go. If I wanted to have a spiritual, kind of experience, I would think of other places like Tibet or, India, or I don't know.
Well, I think that's really because it's common to not appreciate like what you have, It's like,
I agree.
Like we have this amazingly spiritual place like right up there, and we're just like, yeah, man, fucking smoke cigarettes and fucking be an asshole, like we could be up there clicking together like chimes and shit like that, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, well, actually, I used to go up there. I know that's a lie. I went up there one time. when I was a teenager, and because my mom wanted me to use up all my driving hours, so I went up there during my driver training, and I went to the crystal shop and I bought myself a bumper sticker, and it was like a hologram bumper sticker, and it said, "I believe in magic." And I was like, I love this place. This is so much fun. I was like, I'm gonna come back here all the time.
And then you didn't.
No.
Until like what, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
When you went every week for several weeks, right?
Yes. I mean, I've worked up there quite a bit, which is funny.
Well, here's the thing. So what is this Telos place?
I don't know. It's some realm, it's some fourth dimension, eighth dimension, the realm of Aquarius.
Yeah, because I got that because I was like walking around in Mount Shasta one time.
Right.
Okay, I used to go to Mount Shasta all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't know, like a lot. Like what does that mean? But we would go up there and go cross country skiing. We had like a homeschool family that we were friends with that was up there, so we would like go there and go to the park and like
weave
your
purses and
weave the purses
and eat your sugar-free granola and whatnot.
Yeah, get water from the source.
Yeah,
you can get water from the source there, guys.
From the headwaters.
Don't get too excited, but it's water from the source. Anyway, yeah, so I'm walking around. This wasn't when I was a kid. This was like a couple years ago or something like that. And checking out the shops and stuff because there's kind of a there's kind of a cute little downtown that's like 2 blocks long with crystal shops and restaurants and stuff like that. And there's a really nice outdoor store if you need like skis or ski boots or something.
Totally.
The 5th season is your spot. And so I'm walking along and I look over at this window, and whatever this shop was, they had moved, but they had a handwritten sign with like shitty Sharpie or whatever, like, "We have ascended to Telos," or Telos. I don't know how to pronounce it. So whatever that is, and then they're like, "Here's our new address," and it was in Weed. They moved to Weed. But then there's also like a snowboard company that's like, I can't remember. I was looking it up like earlier this year or something because I saw people when I was up at the ski park, like with Charlie.
Yeah.
While he was snowboarding, I saw people that had like this brand of snowboards that's like Mount Shasta snowboards, but it's like Telos on the base or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You are really, you're a company man for this fucking Telos Mount Shasta spiritual vibe at that point. It's like
100.
If you're snowboarding, you have your I've ascended to Telos, logo t-shirt on and your Telos board, your Telos gloves and all this stuff, and you're smoking a cigarette and like drinking a Telos cider or something, like you have ascended at that point.
Yeah. Yep. You ascended out of poverty. Yeah.
So it's a spiritual realm.
I mean, so all this being said, it's like not my jam, but I understand why people want to go there and why this kind of like thing is appealing. Like, I get it. And I also think like in another life, if I was like a super hippie or whatever, I would probably like go there and do all these things, It's just because it's right in our backyard. We just kind of go, well, that's a cool place to snowboard, and that's kind of it,
Yeah. We're definitely more utilitarian about it, but it is a beautiful place. Like, if you can go there, stop by.
It is beautiful.
Right in the middle of town, you can look up, there's a big fucking mountain.
Yeah.
And you can drive up to like 7,000 plus feet on this son of a bitch.
Totally.
So go do it.
Yeah.
Ascend to Telos. See if I care.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, it's a way of life. You'll love it. But yeah, you're right. People do go there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They
all
sure
kinds
do.
of different people end up there, right?
It's like a pilgrimage place. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Northbound Coffee, for instance. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like they were like on tour with the dead man, following him
that's
around,
right.
and ended up, I don't know, stranded or something.
Ran out of gas in Mount Shasta.
In Mount Shasta.
That's how so many people ended up there.
We stayed. The burritos were so kind.
Mm-hmm.
We had lots of hippie crack. I don't know if they had that, but whatever. Like, it's it's a thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, but yeah, so other people have ended up there. There's this other weird tie-in.
What is it?
That we had recently?
Oh, yeah.
Hamilton, right?
Yes. And so
go.
Before we do that, do you want to talk about our song of the week? Or do you want to talk about our bolo? What's next? You tell me, boss.
Oh, man. I don't know. It's hard to choose because it's all so good and juicy. It's like it keeps on going, man, forever.
Well, I tell you what. Let's do the bolo first. Okay.
So be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Is a patented segment.
That's correct.
People, are always asking us, what's the next bolo?
People are always talking about
Constantly, right?
Yeah.
And so what is this week's bolo?
So this week's bolo it's sort of a dual thing. All right. So it's Elon. All right. Because I really do want people to be on the lookout for Elon, because I think you should be aware and be wary.
Yeah, he's so wiggly.
And yeah, he's way too wiggly, and I think he's kind of shady, and I think he's up to no good. That's just my opinion. I get some weird vibes from this dude.
It's just one opinion.
I don't think he's here for the greater good. So bolo. Anyway, the other bolo is Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And who's this Hamilton bolo?
Well, so, I mean, if I'm being honest, I had no idea who Hamilton was or his dad.
This is the famous Broadway musical.
No.
About Alexander Hamilton
No.
and Aaron Burr, right? I'm not throwing away my shot. I know you're a huge fan of that musical. Lin-Manuel Miranda, LMM?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, people love their musicals, and that's cool in the gang, but it's not me. Like, I don't love musicals.
I don't love your musicals.
I don't love any
Get them
musicals.
the fuck away from me.
Except for Grease. And that's not really a musical.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's just,
Sure it is.
but
it was on Broadway, right?
Yeah, but it's like rock. It's
Karate,
not,
Karate Kid's mom was fucking Rizzo.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll see.
Mama LaRusso?
I only watched the movie.
Oh, well, I just know this for, because, like, I do my research.
You're a Broadway kid from way back, man.
Oh,
Don't try to deny it.
Les Mis.
Yeah.
Miss Saigon.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget the Phantom
of the Opera.
My favorite, the Phantom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ugh, boy, take a flying leap.
Take a flying leap.
The Phantom.
Sit on it and rotate.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Okay. All right.
Anyway, Hamilton Morris is Errol Morris's son, for those of you who watch documentaries.
Yeah.
And
Thin Blue Line.
Yeah.
Fog of War.
I was
First Person.
vaguely familiar with Errol Morris as a filmmaker. And then we started watching the show that you heard about.
Yeah, Hamilton's Pharmacopeia. Pharmacopeia.
Where did you hear about it?
I listened to Hamilton. Whoa. Holy shit. Could you have directed that sneeze any more into the mic? That's amazing. I want to look back at the waveform on that. That's exciting. That's like a clap. I mean, instead of clapping, you should just sneeze at the beginning and the end of the show so we can sync.
Sorry,
that's a little inside baseball.
I covered my mouth. What do you want?
That was good. That's a good one.
I'm sorry. Start over.
Yeah. So Hamilton is. We're not going to cut anything out. We're keeping the sneeze.
Oh yeah,
because you
sneeze.
are so good looking.
Oh yeah.
Hamilton has a show called Hamilton's Pharmacopeia.
Right.
This what's his name? Elon Musk's kid or something.
No.
Some bullshit. Errol Morris. But
Same
that doesn't
initials.
really matter. He's made this show all about, like, this guy loves drugs, man.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't just love drugs. Like, he likes like weed and alcohol or something. Like, he likes weird drugs.
He's a big fan of psychedelics, but anything that's like psychoactive, which is a lot of stuff. But not only as perhaps a consumer of said drugs, but he's really into the chemistry behind how these things are, like, synthesized and, like, isolated and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to make this molecule and it follows this process and I'm drawing out these weird, what do they call those things? Where you draw the molecular structure of, like, a compound? Or
hexavalent compounds or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, he's got this show where, he, like, does, like, a kind of a documentary thing on all these different drugs, compounds and stuff, and talks about, like, how they're made and what they do and stuff, and talks to, like, weird old people who do, like, massive amounts of PCP and just, like, love it, and are like the wizard and the Sword and the Stone basically.
Definitely. There's some Merlins in there.
I mean, I resisted watching this show, I think, because I saw it. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll check that out sometime, put it on my list. But that was like 2 years ago.
Really?
It's been out for a while.
Oh, wow.
And for whatever reason, I just hadn't checked it out. And then I heard this guy on somebody's podcast, Hamilton. He's talking about the show and talking about drugs and compounds and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. And dude, it is fascinating. It's so fun and interesting and funny and like, you know, touching in a weird way at times and stuff too. Like, it's a great show. But that's enough like dick riding of the show. The weird tie-in is that we're watching this. We're watching an episode of this, and they're talking about the Sonoran desert toad, you know, the one that gets milked for the venom that can be smoked and all this shit, right? And they're talking about this particular person who like basically got like arrested for that or whatever, and like went to jail, and it completely ruined this person's life.
Yeah.
And they're still like really fucked up about it. Well, so this segment, when they go to talk to this guy, guess where they are?
Mount Shasta.
Mount Shasta. And that's how Hamilton pronounced Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
Mount Shasta.
I've never heard anybody say that before, which was really gave me a giggle.
Yeah, yeah.
But the funny thing about, you know, they're showing Mount Shasta, they're showing him going to this person's house to do this interview to talk about the, you know, whatever, the bufo toad, whatever that's called, and his experience with all this stuff. And as they're kind of like going up to this guy's house, you're like, oh man, I think I've been there.
Yeah, I couldn't tell for sure, but it looked awfully a lot like a property that I have been to in Mount Shasta. Like back in my homeschool, like choir singing days.
Yes, when you were just a wee lad.
When I was just a wee lad, and there was, you know, somebody that we knew from up there,
but
who lived in a yurt. But I don't think it was actually them. But it's like, okay, this is so
familiar.
Shasta. So familiar.
So what happened when you were up there as a kid?
Oh, tons of things. I mean, everything from finding scorpions in the, like, this sort of, like, gravel pit area by my friend's house or whatever that we went up there to visit. We would go out, and there's this huge, like, you know, like 25, 30-plus acre just, like, area that's all this, like, talus, scree, fucking volcanic rock and stuff like that. And we're, like, finding scorpions out there. Everything from that to, like, pulling hellgrammites out of the headwaters.
Yeah.
You know, those little weird
I've done it.
wormy
the larva
things or whatever, black things that are attached to these rocks. And the water is so fucking cold because it's just like coming out of the ground.
What's coming out of the mountain?
Yeah.
The Lemurians are in there cranking the wheel, you know. In the water.
They're cranking it. They haven't stopped. Yeah. So that, and then like I was homeschooled, so we did all kinds of weird shit, and I was up there to visit like homeschool families. So we, like, this group of homeschoolers that I was part of, which sounds totally awesome. This is like the best thing to talk about ever. So
hey,
cool,
homeschooling's
man.
really popular these days. I don't know if you've heard.
I've heard. Yeah. Way popular.
Whether people like it or not. But go ahead.
Damn. Yeah, so we went up there. We were doing this Native American unit. We were learning about Native Americans, like the local ones that lived in Northern California, about where we live and what they use, how their shelters and all this shit. So we go up, we visit some weird, like, Native American, maybe like shaman type of guy.
He probably knew all about these toads. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, it might have been this guy that was on the show for all I know. I don't remember what he looked like, but he, like, showed us the teepee that he built and stuff like that, and then showed us how, like, he started fire with, like, a bow or whatever.
And a stick and all that good stuff. Yeah.
And then, so we're playing around out in the forest after this goes down, I really wish maybe somebody can tell me where this was, like somebody who was there.
Yeah.
Maybe my mom would remember.
Like your sister
I
or
don't
something.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she wouldn't remember for sure. She was younger. But like, so we're all playing around, playing freeze tag or something out in this kind of like, looks like the forest moon of Endor in my mind or whatever,
totally.
you know? And, dude, we're all playing out there, and then like maybe 100 feet away, like very close, a giant ass, like, I don't know if it was a redwood tree, some sort of, like, it wasn't a ponderosa, but some kind of big tree, like, just fucking cracks and falls on the ground, like 100 feet of tree. It's like, and falls down. And we like heard it and saw this happen, and nobody was under it.
But you were really close to it.
Yeah, we were super close to it. I don't know if it was like a windy day or what, but
scary.
Yeah, we were saved that day.
Yeah.
By the Lemurians, the archangels, the fucking prophets. I don't know, but somebody was looking out for us there.
Thank goodness.
I mean, we just got lucky, but it's like that could have smashed like 100 children.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, trees falling on people is really a thing. It does happen.
Yeah. And so we were there to hear it. So yes, a tree did fall in the woods.
Maybe it was a Bigfoot, you know. Maybe the Bigfoot pushed it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they got those big feet, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say about guys with big feet.
They live in the forest.
Gotta wear big shoes.
That's a dad joke.
That's yes, it is.
Were you gonna say that's what she said?
That's what she said. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a weird comeback.
That would be.
So we just thought this is a strange connection to see a Hamilton Morris on the show going to Mount Shasta, and then he also went to Shasta Caverns to talk to this guy, and apparently there's some big, gathering that happens at Shasta Caverns for people who are really into, spirituality or whatever it is. But the other thing about all of this is, of course, drugs are like interlaced into all of this sort of practice. I mean, that's just kind of the two things sort of go together. So it makes a lot of sense that he would come to Mount Shasta, go to Shasta Caverns and all those things, because it is sort of the epicenter of a lot of psychedelic experiences, I think. And that makes a lot of sense. And the other funny thing about the show is that so many of these stories take place in California. California seems to be the place to go if you want to do drugs, I mean,
it's a spot.
Do unusual drugs, let's say.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. A lot of it was elsewhere, different countries completely and stuff, right? But
there was, but there was a lot of coming back to California for stuff, I just thought it was kind of funny. They didn't really go to Oregon. They didn't go to Nevada. You know what I mean?
It's good. Those are racist piece of shit states. Right?
Oh, there's no racist to live here.
Oh, man. It's California.
Yeah. It's just surfs up.
Yeah. Chaka bra.
Yeah. So then after all of this and all this.
The same night
after we've, been talking about all this stuff, and we went through and we watched some Vampire Weekend videos just for funsies, just because,
I hadn't seen several of them. I'd heard all the songs, right? But they've had lots of videos.
Right. And we're like, oh, let's watch all the Vampire Weekend videos. That'll be cool.
Fun times.
So we're going back in time. We started with the most recent, Vampire Weekend stuff, which is Father of the Bride. Then we're going all the way back to the beginning. Well, their first video is Oxford Comma.
Yeah. Or one of the first ones.
Yeah.
I think.
That was the first one I saw.
Yeah.
And when their first album came out, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a funny one. It's
you remembered that video?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
I don't think I'd seen it.
Oh, I was like, when I first saw it, I was just like, oh my gosh, these guys are so cool. I hate them.
Yeah. So we're watching Oxford Comma, and we've been watching these shows. We've been ascending to Telos. We've been thinking a lot about Mount Shasta.
And Hamilton.
And guess what? Guys?
What?
At the 39th second. You can check this out yourself. of the Oxford comma video, guess who just suddenly appears on screen as a member of a faux fucking film crew in the Oxford comma video? None other than Hamilton Morris.
And get this, it was confirmed by none other than Hamilton Morris because you asked about it.
I did.
And he said, oh yeah, I used to live in the same house as Vampire Weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, like what?
And it was unmistakably him because this person is very distinct looking to me. But yeah.
But you heard it from the horse's mouth too, on top of it all.
From the Morris's mouth.
I know. Anyway, what a weird, bizarro thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the nice part about this is that I realized that Vampire Weekend, like, represents so many things for me. Like, it's like a band that I am, like, kind of married to. And that's really unusual for me in, like, my post, you know, like, childhood life.
Mm-hmm.
Does that happen to you, too, where it's hard to kind of, like, really get, like, fixated on something as an adult, where like when you're like, you know, a kid, you have all this time to go get fixated on whatever it is that interests you?
I don't seem to have any trouble in this area. As I'm thinking about it, I think I'm very good at getting fixated on certain things.
Okay.
And then I just sort of fit it in.
I see.
You know, I kind of make the time for it because it's really high up there on my priorities list, you know?
I see. Well,
like obsessing about a song and listening to it like 20 times in a row.
I would say that's true for some other things. Like I have definitely spent time doing that with fashion or whatever. But for music, like I unfortunately have fallen off on a lot of that in my adulthood.
But Vampire Weekend is still right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when their first album came out, it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite band. Like they are living up to all my WASP dreams and my Hamptons houses and playing tennis and, you know, break your Birkin bag and your, you know, your yacht shoes and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. It was just like, oh, this is too good.
They're white jeans.
White jeans, striped shirts, you know.
Yeah, they're horchata or whatever.
So I got really into it. And seeing that video again made me realize, well, the other part of this is that they are great at doing something low budget and making it look really fun and cool and abstract and artsy. And that's right up my alley.
Yeah, it sure is.
You know?
And that is what makes Oxford Comma this week's Team Babe Song of the Week.
Yes, correct.
Right?
It's the Hamilton Morris, you know, coincidence, but it's also just, it's a great song. Yeah. And it's the beginning of sort of like a love affair with a band that is still happening.
Yeah.
And so we just thought, well, that makes a lot of sense, you know?
Totally. I mean, the first, my friend Tom is the person who said, hey, you got to check out this band or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. And I heard A-Punk. Is that what it's called? That was the first, I think maybe their first big hit or something like that. But then this Oxford Comma song, blah, blah, blah. Their next album comes out. Everybody's like, oh, it's different. We don't like it. I'm like, fuck you. This is great. You know, like, yeah, it's good shit, man. I mean, you guys all know and love Vampire Weekend, right? Well,
and I watched this video on MySpace. So that seems like a different time completely.
So it's really, there's just this week's episode, there's just a lot of circles and like tie-ins, you know?
Yeah. And
or whatever.
And I would like to mention that I plan on writing my essay about a Vampire Weekend album that has a story arc. And I'll reveal that later.
Because you are convinced that a particular Vampire Weekend album is about something that
no one else.
It actually turns out.
And no one else would agree with us.
Not to be, but you created this whole. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that, you guys.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a real treat. We might have to bring back Babe Words to share some of that one.
I'll try to keep it short.
I mean, people have been begging us for Babe Words.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, we just kind of left that one withering on the vine.
Well, there's more babe words, coming out just on a daily.
Right.
So don't worry.
That's right.
Yeah.
And yet, so not only that, but okay, like we happened to drive up by Mount Shasta. We stopped in Mount Shasta.
We did?
Just a couple days ago.
That's right.
We drove up past the Weed Airport. It's a big ass fucking jet up there.
Yeah, there was
Who's that?
a private jet up there. Yeah.
Like not some little Gulfstream. Like at Weed? It's not even an airport.
I've never seen a jet at Weed.
Like who was that?
It was probably Elon. He's probably like
or Bill, just trying to get away from the whole Melinda situation
divorce
for a quick weekend jaunt.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like
hitting the Stewart Hot Mineral Springs or whatever.
Something's in the works. Let's just say that. That's what I feel like.
Big things are coming to Siskiyou County.
Yeah. Much to the chagrin.
Specifically the Weed/Mount Shasta area.
Much to the chagrin of the Lemurians, I'll say.
I don't know. I think they might be on board with this. Yeah. So anyway, I think you all should be ultra spiritual this week. I think you should, call the voicemail, leave us comments on our TikTok, send us an email at
You're the worst.
Hello.
Yeah, send us an email at you'retheworst.com.
You're listening to this, so you know how to get at us on the socials. We don't have TikTok.
Oh, man. You are the all-time worst.
We have Twitter, but I haven't posted anything yet.
I mean, wow. Anyway.
Somebody save me from this.
I'll save you.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah, I'll save you. I'll save your ass, just like usual. So thanks so much for joining us for this episode, this deep dive into drugs and spirituality and hippies, crystals.
Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
Shasta.
Mount
Talos,
Shasta.
Shasta Caverns.
I still don't give a fuck about an Oxford comma. Okay.
I really don't.
But, you know me, I'm not really into grammar.
Wink. Yeah. Everybody knows what you mean. In that weird, situation that might arise where you didn't put the comma in. Guess what? People are gonna fucking figure it out most of the time. If they don't,
yeah,
you got bigger problems.
Yeah.
Got bigger fish to fry. Because I'm saving that space.
Are you?
Yeah.
For what?
I mean, fucking my masterpiece.
Oh.
My manifesto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have dueling manifestos next week.
Dueling manifesto. Oh man, throw down the gauntlet. Jesus Christ.
Are you up for the challenge?
I was born up for the challenge.
Okay, good. Well, that must be why we get along so well.
Yeah. So anyway, babe, I mean, it's Oxford commas, it's so many things, it's ultra spiritual, but if I'm going to ascend to Telos with anybody, it's going to be you.
Okay, I like that, babe.
Yeah. And I love you, babe.
Love you too.